at the Zonta Club of Maricopa meeting, and our guest speaker tonight is Miss Linette Caroselli. And we are going to welcome her and let her speak tonight on sex trafficking.
Good evening, everyone. It is my esteemed pleasure to be here with you this evening. When Councilwoman Gussie asked me to speak on, that's a topic that's very dear to my heart. I am and my family's experience, because the one thing we need to understand foremost is that it's not just the actual person who is trafficked, the whole family is victimized by the tragedy. It takes victims a long time, years, for them to recover from the incident. I never want any other parent that I can help, that's within my power, to go through what I went through. My eldest daughter, she graduated from Maricopa High in 2015. That summer she was gone. I didn't know where my child was for a year and a half. Oh. That is a mother's and a father's worst nightmare. But I didn't know she was trafficked. I had no idea. I thought she just ran away because she had done it before. So long story short, 2011, my husband passed away in a car accident. He went to work and didn't come home. I had to tell 3 young children that their father was no longer with us. Very difficult thing to do. I had $236.68 to my name. And trying to figure out, and I still always remember that number, how am I going to take care of my children? What am I going to do? And I had to do what I had to do. As mothers, we do what we have to do. But I had to make sacrifices. It meant not really paying attention to what my kids were going through because we were all grieving differently. I poured myself into my work and teaching. Taylor had a different way because she and her father were 2 peas in a pod. That was her best friend. They were very close. And when she lost her dad, she lost her world. And I didn't realize that because I'm so busy trying to keep the household afloat, keeping my job, making sure there's enough money, making sure there's food on the table, I can pay my mortgage. All those things were going on. And even though I had a strong family support, it still was very hard. And each of my children dealt with the death differently. Taylor is also bipolar. I didn't want to accept it. Most parents, we don't want to accept that our child has a mental disorder. She was diagnosed at the age of 15. And it was hard for her father and I to say, okay, my child has a problem. So I kind of ignored it. I chalked it up to teenage stuff. It wasn't until later on that I realized, you know what, I need to address this. Bipolar people have a different sense of reality than we do. Their reality is not ours. So we could say the sky's blue. They'll say it's purple and they believe it wholeheartedly. And it's really, you can't argue with them. You just can't do it. So Taylor and I bumped heads. It was like oil and water as she got older in her teenage years. And she missed her dad, and she took it out on me. And I didn't know how to deal with that. When she graduated from high school, 2 days later, I found out she was pregnant. And I was hurt, but I tried to be supportive. She lost that baby about 6 months into her pregnancy. I didn't find out she was pregnant until she was 5 months. Because she was my daughter's very beautiful to me. But she's heavy set, so I didn't notice it. And I know as a mother, it's like, how do you not notice that? I really, truly didn't notice it. So she lost the baby, and that's another devastating blow to her. So now she has 2 things. She has the loss of her dad, and then the loss of her child. She was a little girl. And as much as I tried to comfort her, there was no comforting her. She was looking for love in all the wrong places. She was looking to replace her daddy's love. And then I didn't understand what I was looking at. She's on Facebook, and if you have teenage children, you know they put all of their business on Facebook. Everything. She was no different. All of her business. And the more I told her don't, the more she did. The more I would take away her page or delete it, she would create another one. And I would have to be super sleuth and try to find out, okay, what did she name herself this time? This is how she was roped in. So I wanted to share a quote with you, because the second thing I need us to understand as a community, quote, people who do not believe that their children could ever become victimized online are living in an unrealistic world. Regardless of if your child makes A's or not, that child has the potential to become victimized through online technologies. I think it is very important for parents of all socioeconomic status and with all different roles in society to take this problem very seriously. Melissa Morrow, Supervisory Special Agent, Child Exploitation Squad, FBI. We feel it can't happen to us. I was that parent. I live in Maricopa. I moved out here to be with my mom after my husband passed to try to start over. Maricopa is quiet. It has an extremely low crime rate. Stuff like that doesn't happen in Maricopa. I'm fine. I've left my door open a couple of times, and I'm originally from New York, so that was strange in itself. And nothing happened. We live in a very safe city, but yet my child was involved in human trafficking. She was picked up from my house. Picked up from my front door. Here's how it happened. We need to be mindful of what our children are doing on the internet. You're not being nosy. You're not being a bad parent. You're being a good parent by not having closed doors, knowing who your children's friends are, passwords. You need to monitor what they have going on. She meets this gentleman, and I use that term very loosely. She meets this man on Facebook. He appears to be someone completely different. Human traffickers look just like us. They're black, they're white, they're Hispanic, they're Asian. They look just like you and me. There is no difference. You cannot pick them out from a crowd. You will not be able to. They're clean cut. They can be doctors, they can be lawyers. You will never know that they traffic people for a living. You will never know it. He told her everything she wanted to hear. Again, she put all her business out there. I'm fat, I don't feel pretty, I miss my dad, I can't stand my mom, she got too many rules, she's always on my case. He roped all of that in. You're beautiful. You're sexy. I think you have it going on. You don't have to listen to your mom. You can come live with me. I'll take good care of you. He started sending her things. Now, she got home before me, so I never saw the packages. This is called the Romeo pimp. They wine and dine. Get to know you. Get to know your weaknesses. Because that's what they really want, is your weakness. So he knew she had low self-esteem. He knew she missed her father. He knew that she and I didn't get along. He knew she had issues with her sister. You know, most siblings, they don't get along. You know how that goes. And he fed into it. To the point where he got her so comfortable. I want to meet you. Let's go out. Come live with me. And she accepted the invitation. He came to my house twice. The first time, my sister caught him. Taylor is babysitting at the time, Faith was 2. My 2-year-old niece. This man comes to my house. My son is there, my 2 other children, and my 2-year-old niece. My sister felt something was wrong when she dropped off my niece and said, wait a minute. That mother instinct kicked in for her. She turned back around. The guy leaves. And she goes and fusses at my daughter. My daughter didn't learn from this. She invites me back again. This time I'm at work. There is nothing to stop it. She's alone. She gets in the car with him and they drive to Phoenix. When they get to Phoenix, he continues the charade. You're living with me, but there's other girls in the house. And she thought that was strange, like, who are these other people? As they get into it, he tells her, if you love me, you'll do exploit. This is how you can get some extra money while you're here. She asks him what it is. He tells her. She goes, okay, because it's good money in her mind. If you tell any child at 19 that you can make $1,000 a week, and then you ask them to go work at McDonald's for minimum wage, what do you think they're going to pick? They're going to go for the easy money. And they don't feel sex is wrong, because throughout the courting session of the Romeo pimp, he makes her see and believe that having sex with strangers, sending nudity pictures is okay. They desensitize the act. This is what they do. So by the time he asked her to do escorting, she felt it was okay. She didn't see anything wrong with it, because he had convinced her it was okay to do this for money. She did this for a while, and she felt funny. She said, you know what, I think I want to go back home. That's when he hit her with, no, you're not ever going back home. You're mine, you belong to me. If you think you're going home, I'm going to kill your mother. I'm going to kill your sister. I know where your grandmother lives. I've seen your cousin. I know you got a brother and a sister. What does this do to her? She's going to do whatever he says now, because he picked her up from my house. He knew when I came home from work. He knew where my mom lived, because she put it all out there. She told him everything for him to use as his arsenal. This went on for 1.5 years. She was sold several times. The original person that picked her up, by the time she was let free, she had over 6 pimps after that. These are bits and pieces that I find in talking with her, because she doesn't tell me everything. Even now, she will not speak of it. It's like pulling teeth to ask her, okay, what happened? She feels shamed. She's embarrassed. She feels like she failed me. She failed her father. And I try to tell her, you didn't fail me. You made a bad decision. It's part of life. We all have done it. We've all made bad decisions. You're okay. We're going to work through this. She was trafficked between Phoenix and Vegas. Phoenix and Vegas, back and forth, back and forth. It was her and 5 other young ladies. And they lived together, but they constantly moved. So this is why it took me so long to pinpoint where she was. So originally she had her phone with her. And you know your cell phone has a locator device on it. He took it from her. So I lost her in the Phoenix area. I knew she was in Phoenix somewhere, but I couldn't pinpoint because he took the phone. He took her ID. He told her to bring her birth certificate. She did this. He had everything, all of her ID. How do you control someone? You take away their identity. That's the first thing they do. They tattoo you to mark you as their property. So some of the signs that you would see of a human trafficking victim is a tattoo either on the shoulder, the neck, on the back of the neck, on their face, somewhere behind the ear. They are marked, branded like cattle to show other pimps in the area, that's mine. The tattoos can be in any form, usually a symbol or the pimp's name. Barcodes. It gets really, really crazy, but this is how they mark you. Human trafficking is modern day slavery. If you look at how the slaves were branded by their master, it's the same mentality. You belong to me. She's back and forth, Vegas and Phoenix. Finally, she gets back to Phoenix. She's had enough. She didn't make quota one night. They have quotas. They have to bring back a certain amount of money. She didn't make it. So her punishment was 20 men. You can use your imagination on that one. 20 men. Because she didn't make her quota. Didn't make her quota that night. That was her punishment. When she told me this, I just broke down in tears, because this is my baby. This is my child that I carried for 9 months. And someone did this to my child, and I couldn't protect her. I felt like I had failed her, because our job as parents is to protect our children. I failed her, and that's how I felt. And it took me a long time to get that guilt off of me and realize, no, I didn't. She made a bad choice. I taught her as much as I could. But that's the flip side of me growing up in New York. I had street smarts. She didn't have them. She didn't know when something, she didn't have that red flag, like, oops, something's wrong. She didn't have that, unfortunately. After the 20 men incident, that was her breaking point. She said, I have had enough. I gotta get out of here. She had already been arrested for prostitution. That's the other thing they hold over you is you've already been arrested, but you're gonna go back to. Now you're a criminal, you have a history. So that's another thing they hold over you. She manages to get out, and he's thinking she's going to work. And she flags down the same officer who happens to have arrested her for prostitution. And she spills her guts. This is what's happening. She tells him everything. I want to be safe, please help me. And he takes her to a safe place where she stayed for about 2.5 years or so, where she stayed there to kind of get her mind right. Because that was, how do you recover for something like that? It takes a lot. This place is a Christian-run center. They dealt with human trafficking, domestic violence, and drug addiction. And she's dealing with other women who went through this. And believe it or not, they go back to it. They go back to it because they don't know anything else. It's easy money in their mind. I know I've been abused. I know I've been raped. I know I've been beaten up, but I'm hungry. And you're telling me to go work at McDonald's when I can make this money over here. So the girls would be in and out of the facility. And Taylor did too. She did too. And when I found out she did, it hurt. Because I'm like, what are you doing? You have help. And she's like, Ma, I don't know. The street life is calling me. Because it's easy money. It's like a drug dealer. It's easy money for them. So she's not doing it anymore. She's finally gotten the help that she needs. So she's going to have to continue therapy, I believe, for the rest of her life to deal with this. She has nightmares. She struggles with it. She tries to cope all kinds of different ways. And we try as a family to help her as much as we can, as humanly possible, to help her and to keep us together. So what it's taught me is watching my other two. What's your password? What apps are you on? Because they lurk with it. It's not like when we were growing up and they had a little white van come scoop the kids up after school. They're on the internet. That's how they get your kids. And it's not just your kids. Taylor was 19. This is a woman. And once you hit 18, the laws change. The laws change. This was another reason why it took me so long to find her. I even enlisted the help of my sorority, FBI members, to help find her. They couldn't pinpoint where she was. It was that hard. It was that hard to do this. She's recovering. She still struggles. I'm still struggling with it. But my thing is, if I can help any parent, any person prevent this, I'm going to do what I have to. In July, I spoke in Dallas to about maybe 3,000 people. Did a forum with the Dallas Police Department and that local FBI center there. And it was amazing how we were bouncing off each other and telling our stories about what's going on in our country. Because that's another myth. It doesn't happen in the United States. It only happens in third world countries. Mm-hmm. Where do you think they all come? Here. Mm-hmm. They're trafficked here. Yeah. And this is where they make the most money. Here. It's not in Vietnam. It's not in Cambodia. It's not in Colombia. It's here in the United States. As young as 4 years old. They're buying your kids. They're selling them online. They sell them online. Here in Arizona, the average age that you get into it is 14 years old. That is an 8th grader. Where do they recruit from? Junior high school, the mall, the internet. Wherever your kids are hanging out, that's where they're watching them. And I'm not trying to scare you, I'm trying to make you aware. I'm trying to make you aware of what's going on. Because in our little town of Maricopa, it's happening here too. We've had 4 cases here. It's happening here. And our police department has done a fantastic job addressing it, trying to educate the community. We've done They partnered with me and my sorority for 2 human trafficking forums. And I want to do another one on a bigger scale because we need more people to come out. Doing it in the little increments is good. We're getting the word out. But we need to have a city that's aware of what's going on so that we can protect our loved ones. Because don't think because you're 25 or you're 35, they're not going to put you to work. They're going to put you to work too. It's not just a female thing. They do the men too. So we have to change our mindset about what's going on. In November, I'm going to Houston to do, I'm the keynote speaker for their event. It's called Children at Risk is the organization. And they're partnered with the Houston Department of Education to train the teachers what to look for. I would love to see NUSD 20 do the same. So I'm going for part of that reason to bring back that information to our superintendent and say, hey, we need to do this too because it's happening. They're recruiting in the junior and in the middle, in the high school. And we don't know what we're looking at. I know what I'm looking at, but what about the rest of my colleagues? We need to all be aware of when we see a kid who never had anything, and all of a sudden he walks in the room with $200 sneakers on, that's a sign. Something's up. Something's going on. Either they don't join the game, they're selling drugs, or they're being trafficked. We need to pay attention to what's going on. If you see a kid who's malnourished, they're dirty, they're always sleepy, that's a sign. They may be trafficked because they still go to school. They work at night and they go to school. They sleep in my class, but they go to work and then they go to school. We need to be aware of what we're looking at. We need to pay attention. It's not just the bruises and that is, okay, maybe it's child abuse. No, it could be a little bit deeper than that. It could be. So that is my story.